morning, welcome to a small video about how to find and use the APA, which has been rewritten by Emlyn Harrison. First of all, if we open up Windows Explorer, we end up with this little window, and we're going to click in here, and I'm just going to go to the shared area. Now you can go to the shared area in the way that you know, with your link on the desktop. I like using this way. So we go to Staff Shared or Shared Staff, and then into tracking, and then within that in tracking we're going to go to teacher information file. So we're going to try and keep the TIFFs and the APAs all in the same place on the teacher information file. You see here we have a shortcut to Year 11 APA. This will be the actual file later on, but for now this will work. We just open that up, and this is what you should find when you open up the APA. So we can look at different data sets here. We can click on this button here and look at all the different data sets that have been entered so far this year. We're going to leave it on March predicted, so this is the year 10 and 11 predicted data, and just find a subject. I'm going to just pick my subject, so it would be maths. It can take a little while. You see down here the processing just takes a little bit of time, but it's only a few seconds. And then we have quite a lot of useful information. Now, in a separate video, I'm going to talk about commenting and action points, which is what the idea of the APA is. But this can be a really useful analysis tool as well. So at the moment, I've got the whole of maths selected. Now, I could go down to an individual class, but first of all, I'll just look what I've got. So based on what we predict happening in the Year 11 class, you can see what are A stars to A's and A stars to C's, etc., etc. All the class data is. At the moment you see the class and school data is the same because I've got the whole year group selected, and how this compares to the national, at least the national last year. Obviously these are quite good results. You need to just be wary that they could be a little bit high based on predictions, and need to think about does that sound right, and we can really drill down into individual classes. But then we can look at the individual groups. So here down here we have the A stars to C. We're later on is going to have A stars to A as well, in terms of how the group's doing. So the whole cohort again 86% A stars to C. But obviously this breaks down quite a difference in male and female, so at 9%. And then we can look at how pupil premium and non-pupil premium compare. So there's only 4% difference there. So that's quite interesting to look at. And obviously when we look at the different classes and the cohorts, we could really drill down and look at just pupil premium in terms of which students we're looking at. We then have all the different SEN there, and also the lower, higher and middle ability, and obviously that will vary. We'd expect high ability students to get 100% A stars to C. Middle ability, we like to think we could get most of them, and of course the low ability generally don't have as many getting A stars to C. Going down to the progress matrix down here, but this is all the students, and what's really nice about this is we can highlight the boxes, and what we can do is we can maybe highlight both, or just that one for now. You see the two names come up, and this is the students who come in on a 4B and are predicted to get an E. And what this shows you as well is that it compares to the last data set. So the December predicted to March predicted, you see this has actually dropped, so what's happened to Mary in that time. But we can also change this data set to look at older data sets or other sets if you like. So then we can actually add on more. We can look at two groups at the same time. So here we've got the same group, but now we've added in Harrison Clues, who's this one student who's come in on a 4A and predicted an E. But to add in even more to this, we can look at or click on Harrison, and it will show us a photo and how his predictions are in other subjects as well. So that's a really nice little touch that's been added in there. Same with Mary and Jack as well. Okay, so if we want to select multiple groups, what we can do is click on a group there and then hold on Control, and we can click on the next box as well, and all those names will pop up. And again, if we just click on each individual student, their photos will pop up there as well, so we know exactly who we're talking about. So from a head of department point of view, that's really powerful. We've also got labels for pupil premium. Obviously, if we do the filter up in the box at the top left-hand corner of the screen, then then all of these students will be pupil premium. But at the moment, it just tells us individuals. And we can also go back over here and see how the data set compares to national. So in terms of students coming in on a 3B, at this school, we are looking at 42%. getting A stars to C, and how does that compare to the national, where it's above the national because the national is 16%. What these arrows mean, obviously the arrows mean they're above or below the national, but the shading represents whether it's significant or not. So if it's green shading or red shading, it's either significantly above or significantly below. We can change that comparison to being compared to the rest of the school. So if I had picked out a class, so for 11 MA1 for example, and then click on school, then they should compare favourably to the whole school cohort. There's also a high-low button as well, which just really shows you what's the highest result in each column, which is green, and then the lowest result is dark red. That may be useful, but it's not always the same. Okay, this will also work for Key Stage 3 when it's released. We'll just click. We'll just have slightly different data sets in there. Obviously, we'll have levels and sub-levels up at the top as opposed to grades. Okay. Down at the bottom, there is some summary information, which is effectively what's in the graphs above, but looking at them in a slightly different light. So from a head of department point of view, what are you going to do? Well, first of all, we want to know about the borderlines. So the borderline DCs, we're looking at these ones here. Those are all the students who are identified as being on a D at the moment, and obviously we've got a list of exactly fine gradings there. And also we can look at all of those students who've got C's by highlighting those. But then we might want to think, okay, we've got someone who's on a 4C here, 4C or 4B. These ones are really key. Well, why is that those two kids, why are they not getting a C? So we look at those students and we consider those. Now, in a later video, like I say, we'll talk about the intervention recording there as well, and that will be interesting for the head of department to look at with the members of staff who teach that class. Okay, well, I hope that's been a useful tool to analyse your data and see where you're going. There's lots of information there, and you're looking for some important patterns. Just to give you an idea for maths and English, it's really key that we can use the 3 levels of progress, compare international, and where information is available, and you'll be able to do that for other subjects as well. Okay, enjoy.